crowdfunding in video games because words are free, but video games are not.
No,
Except for sometimes.
sometimes free apps, free to play, but we're not here to talk
Okay.
about that.
That tagline already doesn't work. I'm gonna have to change it.
That works, but we'll come up with something together. Like I said, we're teething right now.
All right. So, as always, I'm Alex, joined by my good friend James,
Hello.
and yeah, here to talk about some video games. It's been a couple weeks since the last one. There's a lot of good stuff good projects that came out, but we're gonna get this episode started by talking about some of the projects we talked about last time and how they're doing. So I'm going to start off, if you don't mind.
Okay, that's fine. Go for it.
With what I talked about last week. I did Pre-Order Corner last week for Street Fighter V. And I said that while the gameplay was fun, the networks and the netcode didn't seem finished. And I believed at the time that the third beta weekend, which was the one that I had played, was the last one. Happily, I was proven wrong, and they had a couple of tech checks last week, and then this past weekend, they have confirmed that they did the last beta weekend. And it's not great, but it's way better than it was. They is pretty good. They started the beta weekend a day earlier than they said they were going to, had no problems with it. I disconnected way less than I did. I had a lot more consistent matches where the netcode was really good. It felt almost close to offline. So, bravo to Capcom on that one. Hopefully this cycle of improvement keeps going until launch in a couple weeks.
Alrighty. In other news, other less fortunate, more mock-worthy news, how about that there Mighty Number delayed again?
Oh boy, delayed 9 times.
Yes.
I believe they said now, what was it, summer of this year?
It's spring. They said spring. But what gets me is the reason for it being delayed. Something about how they were going to distribute it online. They couldn't get basically what accounts for matchmaking to work correctly. So they just couldn't get it to distribute to people as well as they liked or something. I don't know. They were very vague about it.
Yeah, that's sort of been the tone for the entire project. They've been really vague about it.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, but that's funny to me because everyone expected it to be like people were giving money to a Mega Man clone. Mega Man clones didn't have online matchmaking.
I know, that's what bothers me.
Wasn't it? It was like a stretch goal, wasn't it? Like, hey, you get to play it with your friends.
Yeah, that was a stretch goal. Indeed.
Okay. Yeah. So Mighty Number 9 is going on 2.5 years, almost at 3. Less headline worthy. Psychonauts 2 got funded, as everyone expected it would.
Yep.
So here's hoping that it comes out on time and is not terrible.
Just bunker down, everyone. Bunker down.
Indivisible. They've been plugging away, presumably. It's been a couple of months since their Kickstarter ended.
They did release a thank you video several weeks after the fact, stating about where they were trying to take the game.
Yes.
But I think it's not unreasonable to wait a little while before we see anything new from that corner. I'm going to say 6 months is right at the wall where you guys need to start coming out with little news. But I'll give them the benefit.
I'd say that's for a while. I'd say that's pretty darn reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they said it was like 2017. They didn't expect the game to be done.
They've got their ways out.
All right. So Psychonauts 2 and Indivisible, work hard. Hopefully we get some good games out of them.
Right.
Right. So now that that's sort of finished, we'll move on to new projects.
So we've got 4 campaigns to talk to you about today. Both Alex and I did a little independent digging, and we both haphazardly picked out a Indiegogo and a Kickstarter for you. So we've got 4 projects. Alex, you want to kick off the first one, or you want me to go ahead and do it?
Well, why don't you go ahead? Talk about Consortium, because I'm really interested in that one.
Okay, so Consortium is, I think, one of the bigger projects that we've got lined up for you today. It's an open world RPG shaped, quote unquote, by your choices, which is something that a lot of games nowadays, RPGs, open world games, try to emulate as best they can. It's kind of a running theme. But what's cool about this project is that it's being run by people who have done this exact thing before. They've actually already released a game, Consortium, out on Steam right now that you can buy, which was kickstarted. So
All right.
straight away, we've got clear evidence that these guys have some idea of what they're doing and have clearly demonstrated that they can pump out a product and get it on the market.
They can make a video game.
Yes, they can
They
do.
can
They can
make
do
a video game.
the bare minimum required of them to get on the Kickstarter.
Full disclosure: I have not played Consortium.
Neither have I.
But I was really interested in this project when you sent it to me, because they said that it's inspired heavily by the original Deus Ex.
Yes.
Which I really, really enjoyed. The original Deus Ex is probably one of the video games, like, if someone came to me and was like, tell me why games are a greater form of storytelling, or not greater, but like, tell me why they deserve to have special mention of their storytelling, rather than something like a movie or a book. And Deus Ex, it makes you feel like your choices have meaning. It makes you feel like you're in this big, giant world that's bigger than you are. And, while you are not the inherent focus of everything, you can still have the power to affect the things around it.
Here's something that I also appreciate about this game is that as big and as aspiring as it is, it has set itself one particular limit in that your character is infiltrating just one building. It's a really big building, and there's a lot to the building, but they're not trying to bite off more than they can chew. I think having the experience that they've had before, they know what they're capable of, and they're willing to push themselves, but they know where to pull back, it looks like, which means that they can focus on what's important, I think.
So on their Kickstarter page, and moving forward, all future episodes will have every project we talk about linked in the description. So
correct.
They talk about the setup. The tower is a role play. The title of the project, by the way, is Consortium the Tower. So presumably this is part of like a series, the Consortium series that they've already been working on. So it's a continuation of a franchise. So they say the setup: the tower is a role-playing game in which you play as yourself and are given the opportunity to physically control a man in a parallel world. His codename is Bishop 6. He's a field agent for the Consortium, a powerful peacekeeping force in the not-quite utopic future of 2042. I love like this whole cyberpunk feel that they're going for.
I get the feeling that they're definitely trying to wave their hand at Deus Ex fans like yourself. Yeah, hey, look at us. We're not big yet, but we got something you might like.
Yeah. So there is no playable demo as far as I can see.
No, there is no playable demo, but they do have a playable product that you can purchase right now on Steam.
Yeah, so go check out Consortium.
It was on sale for ridiculously cheap the last time I checked. I'm talking $2. But let me see what it's up for right now. But yep, $3. $3.
All right, I'm probably gonna go give that a try then. Actually,
and it's on and the sale ends in 17 days, so you've got about half a month to buy the Consortium for $3.
I think that's hours. I think that might be hours. 17 hours.
Is it? Oh, son of a gun! You're right. I am bad at telling numbers.
That's all right. It's still like $15. So
yeah, $15. Yeah. So you know what? My pointing it out is pointless because this is going to come up in about 17 hours anyway. So.
Well, I'll try to get this episode up that morning. But anyways, yeah. So, Interdimensional Games Incorporated is the name of the company. They are a Canadian group, I believe, and the project is asking for 450,000 Canadian dollars, which is about 310,000 American. As of when this episode goes up, it'll go up February 1st. So they're at about 80,000 US dollars and 115 Canadian. So, and they have about 18 days left. The project ends February 19th is when the project will end. So this is
they've got a lot of life. They need some help. I think it's a worthy investment.
They in their intro video, their gameplay demo that they've presented allows you. So you're infiltrating the tower, like it says, and you have the option to do it sort of traditional first-person shooter. Go in, shoot the bad guys, don't shoot the good guys. You can stealth it. It allows you to be really stealthy and turn invisible. Or there's a lot of open dialogue trees. You can actually voluntarily surrender yourself to the enemy, which I thought was really, really cool. But that does strike me as though they will have a nightmarishly huge amount of writing to do for the game.
Yeah, that's the biggest. How much crap they're going to have to just get through. I have a feeling that they're probably going to just use a lot of the same voice actor, like so many AAA companies do for a lot of NPCs. But
I would be fine with that.
Yeah, me too. Especially if it means that the gameplay mechanics themselves are more fleshed out, that they can focus on other areas.
And okay, so the minimum amount of money to contribute to get the game is all gone. So 20 Canadian dollars, 14 American dollars. Will get you a copy of the Consortium, The Tower, which they say will release for DRM free on Steam or for Xbox One and PS4.
Right.
So yeah, it's going to release at $30 is what they're saying.
Which is half of a full price game. So.
Yeah. And for 15 US dollars, you're going to get the game and a digital manual, your name in the credits, and developer forum access with a daily update. So that's like access to the development dev logs, presumably. And they're expecting to deliver end of 2017. So they're going to work on this game for a good 2 years.
Right.
Which I feel is a healthy length of time. Okay. So I think that's everything we have to say about Consortium to Tower.
Now, I think there is one more thing that I wanted to say, and let me double check really quick. I'm probably wrong, so you know what? If I find it out later, I'll say it later. But I'm not going to say it right now, so we can go ahead and move on. Yeah. Okay.
Another Kickstarter I found, Children of Zodiarcs. Oh, did you figure it out?
I did. I'm sorry.
Okay. Go ahead.
One more feature that I thought was really interesting that they didn't have to do, but I'm happy that they did. Players of the first game, their save file will be completely transferable to this new title. So progress that they made for their personal character, relationships with other characters, other NPCs, those will carry over to the new game if you had a previous save file with the first game, which is also really cool. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
So it's like a continuation then?
Right, yes.
All right. So I would say, if you played the first one and liked it, definitely throw these guys some cash, because you're going to be getting your money's worth 100% probably. 100% probably. That's
yeah.
All right. I found a Kickstarter. Moving on. Already funded, so that's good. Right. Children of Zodiarcs, a tactical JRPG, which is being developed by a group called Cardboard Utopia.
Which was a new group of people collected from a hodgepodge of AAA veterans, I believe.
Yeah, a couple of their staff members, founder and director Jason Kim, has on their website cardboard-utopia.com. Worked on, it looks like he worked for Ubisoft on Far Cry 3, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and Rainbow Six.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've got a laundry list of heavy hitters in the AAA industry, honestly.
Yeah. So clearly these guys have game dev experience, and they've sort of gone out and are trying. Another Canadian company, interestingly enough, Interdimensional, who worked on Consortium, they're in Vancouver, and Cardboard Utopia, I believe right now they're in Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of deving going up there in Canada. Good on you guys.
Yeah.
So Children of Zodiacs is the name of the project. Also ending their funding on February 19th. And it is a tactical JRPG inspired by games such as Final Fantasy Tactics and Shining Force.
And it's got a really neat little twist about it that I really like. It has to do with the dice system that they've got. I don't think I've seen craftable dice before.
Yeah, that's something I thought is like really interesting. That sort of reemerged in gaming recently with stuff like, I don't know, the biggest thing I can think of is like Hearthstone.
Mm-hmm.
But there was another crowdfunding project, or it might have been like early access, that was like a dungeon crawler, but it was procedurally generated and used a card and dice system to like deck out your character in.
Would it have been Desktop Dungeons? No, it would have been. Oh gosh, I funded this damn game too. It wasn't desktop. It wasn't Desktop Dungeons. It was something else. Oh my goodness, that name is going. That's going to bug me, but I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So yeah, these guys have decided to band together, make a tactical JRPG because they really like Final Fantasy Tactics.
Mm-hmm.
And the combat system is half traditional turn-based, tactical JRPG,
right,
and half with collectible cards and dice, which it looks like you use them to like it's like equipment to deck out your character, and it gives them like different abilities and powers and stuff. And the game has already been funded. They asked for just over 34,000, and they right now are sitting at 88,000.
So they're almost tripling what they asked for at this point, almost.
But to be fair, they didn't ask for terribly much.
No, and from a technical standpoint, it's not a very technically advanced game. So I can appreciate that they acknowledged that and decided that they were going to ask for something a little reasonable.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big problem that a lot of games fall into.
Mm-hmm.
Asking for too much money and then getting it and not knowing what to do with it.
No, that's not to say that art's cheap, but it can be more expensive depending on the level of technology you want to achieve. It's
clear that they're not going for a very high graphical fidelity sort of game. They wanted, very simple 3D graphics and like 2D sort of character cutscenes.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So I'm reading about the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
It's so it's basically what it is. It's half tactical JRPG and half deck card and dice. Outside of combat, you will build a deck of cards for each of your heroes. Well, you will always know what is in your deck. You don't know when you will get it, making each card draw a new opportunity for new strategies to emerge. Make yourself more lucky by crafting better odds for their heroes. Each hero has their own strengths and weaknesses. Certain characters are quick and deft, whereas others are reckless and deadly and can even potentially cause damage to themselves. So I'm guessing that there's going to be like a couple of abilities, like even there's going to be a couple of like not so great cards that you might have to end up putting in your deck.
And we should point out that it sounds like this would be a game that's very easy to say, we could sell you booster packs or stuff to let you help fluff your deck up more if you want to do that. This game makes it abundantly clear, at least from their Kickstarter page, that they are not going to do microtransactions. Your game, it will come in the package and that will be the game. That's it.
Which is, yeah. Oh, okay. I found the name of the game. I remember. It's called Hand of Fate that I was thinking of. The half dungeon crawler.
Yeah, okay. That's not something I've actually done. Then it's another game, still.
So apparently, there's a lot of card games coming out. So if you like card games, it's a good time to be a gamer for you.
Really though.
I thought this was a pretty interesting project because I'm sort of a fan of older style JRPGs.
You know what this reminds me of, actually, is there's a collectible dice game. I forget who publishes it, but it's based on the Marvel and DC comic universes, and they're expanding into other sets. They've got a Dungeons and Dragons set out. It's called Dice Masters, and the combat system does remind me a lot of Children of the Zodiacs, or vice versa. You roll the dice depending on the energy types that you got. Depends on what kind of choices you can make in the game, and you build a team, and you collect the dice that correspond to that team. It is still a booster pack heavy game. You do need to buy into it in order to get a team going. But what I like about this game is that it cuts all that out and it just gets to the nitty gritty. Construct your cards, get your dice together, all your ducks in a row, and have a ball.
Yep.
So if there anyone out there that likes dice collection games like Dice Masters, which is, as far as I'm aware, the only game of its kind, which is probably not true, but it's the only one that comes to my mind. Definitely something that you should keep an eye on. It is fully funded. If you want to get in on it, get with some stretch goals going. They do have several running right now, and right now they are very much on track to hit many more.
Yep. Cheapest. The game has already been greenlit on Steam, which is worthy of note. It doesn't look like it's coming out for console. It's just PC and Mac. It doesn't look like console is one of their stretch goals either. So
no, it is. It's achieved. They've got a PlayStation 4 port coming on the way.
Yeah. So they're expecting to come out with the game August 2016. So pretty decently close. You can buy on Kickstarter. You can get just the game for about $14 American. There's a lot more. There's a lot more backer rewards if you want to check it out. And it will launch with English and French language support because Montreal.
It makes sense.
They might. Oh yeah, okay. Localization for other languages, Italian, German, and Spanish, is one of the stretch goals.
And that's a really deep. That's an unfortunately deep stretch goal, but I understand how expensive voice acting talent is. This is the deepest stretch goal that they've outlined. For 191,000 Canadian dollars, they will localize it in Italian, German, and Spanish. I guess it makes sense because considering how expensive voice talent is, but I think it's a little unfortunate that they had to do that.
Yeah. Oh well.
It can't all be perfect, I guess.
From my understanding of Europe, which is not great, most Germans, Italian, and Spaniards will speak either English or French anyway.
That's fair.
My question is it going to be Canadian French or French French?
Yes, that's a big question because those are two different things.
But yes, okay, Children of the Zodiacs, or Children of Zodiacs, there's no "the" in there. If you're interested, check it out. Get yourself some backer rewards before it launches in August, hopefully.
So now we're getting into Indiegogo campaigns. This next one I'm about to mention is called Sebastian Frank, the Beer Hall Push. Push. How do you pronounce that? P-U-T-S-C-H. That is a German word that I cannot pronounce.
I'm going to go with push based on my understanding of German.
This game is a point-and-click adventure game set in post-World War I Germany. Before I get into the history of the people that are here making this game, I think this is a very interesting choice of background for a point-and-click adventure game. I can't think of too many point-and-click games that have been set in historical fiction before, especially considering that this game revolves around Hitler's rise to power and your main character's attempts to stop it because your main character acknowledges how dangerous and extreme this man is. That's really cool. The idea of that really intrigues me, even if I'm not one for point-and-click adventure games. But this one definitely piqued my interest.
Yep. Yeah, okay, so it's being developed by, it looks like a Portuguese team called Sebastian Frank Games. And it looks like this is their first project.
It is indeed their first project. So this game, this Kickstarter has a few things going against it and a few things going for it. The biggest thing going for it is that it has a free download for a demo. They've got a demo. They have something for you to play. No, it's on. I don't know if it's on their website. I didn't actually check their website. It's on their Indiegogo page, though. If you scroll down a little ways, the demo is available free to download for Windows, Mac, and Linux. Oh, and you download it on their official website. It has a link right here. And you can try these other mirrors and all that good stuff. So
good to know that Linux is getting some love.
Really, though, it's taken Steam how long, and they still haven't come out with the Steam OS for Linux or whatever? I don't know. Is that still in beta? Is that in beta, Linux?
I think it's technically in a workable beta right now. I think.
All right. So, like I said, they do have a demo. So, and they've put some work into the game, and they're very clear about how they're going to fund this game. What they're asking for, what we're asking of us, is only going to represent about 30% of the money that they can put onto the game. So it's only they're putting in the 60%. They're asking of us the last 30, which I guess it's nice of them to point that out. So they've obviously put in a lot of love and attention into this game already. I have not played the demo yet. I just haven't had the time, but it is available for you all to play out there if you get that urge.
Yeah. So they're asking for, like I said, it's a Portuguese team, and they're asking for 30,000 euros, which is about 32,000 American dollars.
Okay, which is not a whole lot, but this campaign in particular does seem to be struggling. 13 days in, they've only raised about 2,000 euros, and that's 7%. They've only got 18 days left of the campaign, so it's not looking like. As of this rate, it's not looking like they are going to succeed with this campaign. I do hope, though.
This is one you're supporting.
I will be supporting this. I can't put money down in it simply because of my financial situation, but I would if I could. This is Consortium. I thought looked kind of interesting, as it's Children of the Zodiacs, but since it's already funded, I didn't feel the need to.
Yeah.
This one I want to see.
Okay.
I really think that the premise is really interesting, mostly because I find history interesting. But it doesn't look like at this rate it could do that, and I hope very much so that it does.
It is doing fixed funding on Indiegogo, so they're not going to get any money unless it gets 30,000 by the deadline. You know, I am not a huge fan of point-and-click adventure games, but I'm going to say if you are, I'm going to say if you're like a huge fan of point-and-click adventure games, then you're going to have to admit that haven't been that many truly great point-and-click adventure games.
The most recent biggest name point-and-click adventure game, need we remind you, was Broken Age.
Yeah.
Which I mean, some people liked it, but
yeah. Well, if you like point-and-click adventure games and you want to see more point-and-click adventure games out, then definitely consider giving Sebastian Frank, Sibir Harpush some of your money.
Yeah, definitely think. I think it could be a risk considering that this company has no history of making games before now. But like I said, the deciding factor really is how much you're going to enjoy the demo. They do have a free demo. Try it out. and let that be your deciding factor, whether or not it impresses you or not.
All right. Last one we're going to talk about for today is an American game, Hover Junkers. So let's talk about something.
Me. I'll let you finish, but this one confuses me.
Yeah. Okay. So Hover Junkers is being developed by a couple of people in LA, in Los Angeles. I believe it looks like the team is called Stress Level Zero, and it's the lead two guys are, or the lead three guys are Alex Knoll, Brendan Leish, and Jake Watson. So this is a first-person virtual reality multiplayer customization fort building shooter.
So basically everything they could think of to cram into a virtual reality multiplayer experience. This is a VR only game, by the way. They put it in there. They wanted to go on every money-making game trope that they could think of and cram it into a VR game.
So it's being developed to work with it's being developed to work with Steam VR, the HTC Vive, and Oculus Touch.
No word on the Sony VR that they're supposedly coming out with.
I think the Sony VR is only going to work with the PS4. So
okay, that's fair.
So the gameplay is you have to build your flying fortress, and you do combat against other flying fortresses. And the way you do this is with the HTC Vive, which, if you haven't seen the HTC Vive, it's an interesting piece of tech. It's like a touch control setup.
It's the world's most advanced. Is it not the treadmill looking thing? Is that not what this is?
I think that's like one part of it, but I don't think they're using that. It's just it's just the hand controllers, and they're used to build your base and to use as guns to shoot, and you have to like reload. You have to do an actual reload animation.
So they're basically these little. You could go ahead and consider them Wii remotes, except there's no infrared detector that you hold, and as you move the item in the game will pick up on the motions that you're making, and your character will kind of mimic what your hands are doing. Except you'll have a VR headset on, so you won't see your own hands, you'll see your character's hands.
See, not seeing what was going on in your hands was never the problem with motion controls. It was always the lack of feedback. And that's why I'm not gonna, well, first of all, I don't have $600 to throw at an Oculus Rift.
Correct.
Oh, speaking of which, this is relevant to us. Oculus Rift came out a couple weeks ago and said that anyone who contributed any money to their Kickstarter, like so many years ago, if you contributed any money to that, you will get an Oculus Rift.
Well, I missed that train.
Well, to be fair, it didn't seem like a good idea at the time.
That's true, but you know, risk takers.
I 100%. If it was like however many years ago, like 4 years ago, and we were doing this podcast, I would have said, "Don't give your money to Oculus."
Well, I was completely out of the loop on the whole Oculus Rift kickstarting campaign to begin with, mostly because it wasn't on my radar, so I didn't care.
Anyways, the problem with motion controls has always been the lack of feedback. And when you're doing something like firing guns, a big part of it is like the recoil, the visceral feel, you know. And when you're like taking cover, to know that you're actually taking cover behind something. If you're not willing to like set up something in your living room, you have to let your imagination do a lot of the work. And that doesn't seem immersive to me.
Yeah.
But the Indiegogo that they've launched is using flexible funding. They're asking for $100,000, but they know that they're not going to get that much. They have said that their game is basically already finished, and this is just they're basically doing a glorified pre-order.
This is what confuses me. So I'm going to go ahead and jump on this right now because you just put it out there. This game is done. It's basically gold. It's not technically gold, but it's basically gold. So everything that goes into this Indiegogo campaign is not necessarily going to make the game better. It's going to make basically the collector's edition better, to put it bluntly. It's they're funding a collector's edition, and the tiers they have here are pretty ludicrous. The tiers jump. Okay, the tiers jump from $275 US. The previous jump from there was 125, kind of reasonable. Got a little steep, a little reasonable. The very next tier is $1,000 US in the next tier.
Which, if you get $1,000, then they will model one of the pieces that you can attach to your ship, like based on what you want. So if you want, I don't know, if you have like a car that you really like, they'll model like a piece of that car and they'll put it in the game for you or something. If you do the highest tier, which is $8,000,
and I would like to point out that the one above it is $3,000, and the one before that is the $1,000 tier. So there are 3 multi-$1,000 tier options for you. And the ones below all of those is just $275.
So this is
you can tell that they were kind of dry on ideas for what they were going to do with this Indiegogo campaign.
Because it's basically done already.
Yes.
That's the thing. So the highest tier is $8,000, and they'll put a character in the game based on you or a character you want to design. So yeah, the game's basically already finished. They're asking for $100,000, but I'm pretty sure it's already been greenlit on Steam. And yeah, it has.
Yeah, I was about to say, didn't Valve Stress Level Zero took a trip to Valve HQ and were introduced to their VR room, and so I'm pretty sure Valve knew about this from the get-go. I don't think Valve wasn't going to let this not get on there, because this is, I think what they're touting this as is Steam's first VR mover.
Yes,
I think that's what it feels like to me.
Which, it's not a bad idea, honestly. For a game, it's not a bad idea for VR. Like, first-person shooters were always going to be like, they were always going to be the meat and potatoes of VR. First-person games. And they expect the game to come out in March, so that's like in 2 months.
It's basically gold.
Yeah. But what I find interesting is that when they talk about this, they talk about the VR space a lot. So presumably this game is for people who already have a VR system set up or are planning to. So if you're one of those lucky few who has an HTC Vive or is going to get one,
who prints money for a living,
and you want something to use it on, go ahead and give Hover Junkers a look. I'm not going to, because there's nothing on VR right now that really interests me. So
I wish we had the time to talk about the moral implications of setting up an Indiegogo campaign exclusively for pre-order bonuses, but we don't.
Yeah. Well, they saw an opportunity, and
they technically, they're in the right. They can do whatever they want with their campaign. It's just I don't think I've ever heard of anything like this before.
Yeah. All right. So that's pretty good. We talked about four crowdfunding projects. Gave most of them the thumbs up. And I believe you had a pre-order corner you wanted to talk about.
I did. How much time are we at right now? Like 40 plus, I'm imagining?
We're about 30 minutes, 35 minutes.
35 minutes. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and spit this out real quick. I'm going to try my damnedest not to make it a bitching session, but that's going to be kind of hard considering. Is it? Great. Fuck Warner Brothers Interactive. So, as you may recall from our previous... well, go ahead.
I'm going to make a promise that in future pre-order corners, we'll talk about things that aren't fighting games.
Yeah, that's true too.
But we have to now.
So you may recall me talking about the last time I had a run-in with Warner Brothers Interactive in the form of Batman Arkham Origins. I fortunately, with Origins, I didn't have a terrible experience with my system. with my PC. Others did. I didn't like how Warner Brothers handled it and decided that I wasn't going to pre-order Arkham Knight. Luckily, I did not, because we all know what happened with that. So
massive
enter
refunds.
MKX.
Mortal Kombat the 10th.
Yes, so the 10th inning. I did not pre-order MKX either. I bought it after the fact. I bought it about a week after launch, when I thought everything had died down on the buggy side of things.
Because it was unplayable on PC at launch. Like, actually, you couldn't get into the game.
My friend did pre-order it, and he was livid. He was beside himself because he had been waiting for this game since it was announced. I was interested in it because he was interested in it. At the end of the day, I bought the game. I played it a little while, and I had fun with it. When the Predator was announced, now this is where my nerd rage is going to come in, because I'm a huge Alien and Predator fan. I jumped on him. I didn't pre-order that pack. I waited for the pre-order for the Predator to be an individual fighter that you could select, and so I bought him for like $5, I think it was, and I had a lot of fun with him. I thought it was a great little addition to the roster, and you could not believe my excitement when Combat Pack 2 rolls around, and the alien gets his own little weird cameo. Granted, he's a Tarkatan alien or whatever. But I thought that was a really cool way to handle it, because a lot of people also missed Baraka. And so this is kind of like two things in one.
Yeah.
And I got really excited until about 2 weeks ago, at which point I was filled with indignation and despair when I found out that Warner Brothers Interactive would not be publishing any of its new content for MKX on the PC. It would be dropping basically any and all support for the PC port as of now. It's not even getting the friggin' netcode update that the consoles just got.
Yeah,
when they switched to GGPO.
Yeah, because NetherRealm's trying to do netcode is the worst thing ever.
I'm not familiar with the history of NetherRealm's netcoding, but at this point, I have made the decision for myself to never, ever, ever buy or pre-order or buy, for that matter, any Warner Brothers Interactive published game for PC. And I'm pointing at my tower right now for this system, because they have shown on 3 separate occasions that they cannot and do not care to produce a functioning PC port.
Because, again, I hate to bring up the comparison, but the Street Fighter V PC and PS4 editions are being developed simultaneously by the same people.
And there's crossplay.
There is crossplay, and it's really good. Mortal Kombat X for PC was ported by a group called High Voltage Software, and either they really fucked up, or Warner Brothers didn't tell them enough, or NetherRealms didn't tell them enough, or didn't give them enough time.
How much we don't know is really frustrating to me too, because we don't know where the hiccup is.
But all we know now is that there's January 20th, they announced Mortal Kombat XL, which is Mortal Kombat Game of the Year edition, which includes all the DLC, and it's not scheduled for release at any moment for the PC. It's the NetherRealms cycle.
Yes. You know what's funny though, because MK9 wound up getting all of the DLC for its PC port, so maybe down the line when MKX doesn't matter anymore, I'll finally get to play my Tarkatan alien. Until then, I'm just going to sit here and be sad. And that is my complaining session for Warner Brothers Interactive today.
So pre-order corner for MKXL. No.
Well, I mean, if you're a console gamer, I guess, and PC doesn't matter to you, go for it. But steer clear, and for all future Warner Brothers Interactive published PC ports, just don't bother. Don't look at that way.
And again, I hate to throw High Voltage under the bus because I don't know if they messed up, but all signs point to either them messing up or NetherRealm's not giving them enough time.
If High Voltage messed up, then Warner Brothers didn't care to fix it. There's so much happening here of people not wanting to fix what's broken.
Yeah, the game came out in April of 2015. So they've had time.
Mm-hmm. Because they tried to fix it with Arkham Knight, and that took months before it ever got back online, and it still wasn't fixed. And so I guess they decided not to try that with MKX and just said, fuck it.
I guess they were just bleeding money.
Yeah, and I can see why they would be doing that, but at that point, why don't they? I don't know anything about the AAA game development industry, but I've seen plenty of other game developers do it right. Why can't these guys? It's friggin' Warner Brothers.
Yeah, they have. Well, again, it's the NetherRealm cycle. A game comes out, everyone likes it for like a month or two, and then forgets about it, and then gets really excited for the next one. It's what happened with Mortal Kombat 9. It happened with Injustice. Injustice and Mortal Kombat 9 were equally, well, not equally. They were almost as bad on PC.
I've actually played Injustice on PC a little bit, and I mean, this was long after release, and I didn't see any problems with it. But I mean, that doesn't mean that there's no fire, obviously.
Well,
I guess that makes an episode.
Yeah. Real quick, do you wanna give any like recommendations for anything like you played the last couple of weeks? Anything you gave money to?
Well, I haven't given any money to campaigns. I did.
Well, not campaigns, like just games.
You know what? I have been playing, as has the majority of the internet at this point, a lot of Blade and Soul, and I picked up a 1 month's premium membership for Blade and Soul, and I have been having a lot of fun with it. I have a level 29 Demon Squirrel Blade Dancer, and he's great.
Yeah. Blade and Soul, free-to-play Korean MMO, came out pretty recently. I played it not as much, but I think I'm at like around level 16 or something on my main character.
Okay.
I'm not a huge MMO person. The last MMO I got really into was Guild Wars 2, but it's fun enough. I don't think I'd ever go above free to play, but give it a try. Give it a try if you like Korean MMOs. Or
I will say it took me a very long time to hit the free to play wall, the paywall, so to speak. So they're reasonable about it. It will be clear when they want you to start paying money, but it's not going to stop you from playing, I don't think.
Yeah.
I paid for it because I wanted to, not because I had to.
Yeah. As far as me, I also played Blade and Soul, but the game that I will not stop ranting about ever, Dragon's Dogma, came out on PC.
You beat it like what, 5 times this week or something?
I've almost beat it twice.
Okay.
Dragon's Dogma, I played it for like 2 hours when it came out on PS3, and it ran at like 12 frames per second, and it was awful. It came out on PC. It runs at 60 frames per second at 1080p on reasonably high settings, and I love it. I love it to death. It's
not a full price game either on Steam, is it?
It's like $30.
$30? Yeah, I might check it out.
That's something that I wish, because Japanese and Korean developers release games for $30. I would, I hope more Western developers start doing that. It's $30. It's on Steam. If you like, actually, I would go as far as to say it's an RPG for people who don't really like RPGs, because I don't really like open world Elder Scrolls.
So how much would you compare it to a game like Dark Souls or Monster Hunter?
Okay, Dark Souls. I know people like to compare it a lot to Dark Souls, but it's not. I think it's fair. I think it's almost fair to say that Dark Souls is a little more. It is open world, but it's definitely a little more linear.
There's an obvious goal. There's a path. But
Dragon's Dogma is a little more traditional. It's got like quests and stuff, and if you ever get bored, you can reasonably just start walking in any direction and figure out what you run into. If you try that in Dark Souls, you instantly get pushed off 15 different cliffs.
And I love it, but some people don't.
Oh yes. I didn't like Skyrim that much, if I'm going to be honest.
For as much as I played it, I didn't either. But I mean, it was the game to play at the time, so I did.
Yeah. Love Dragon's Dogma. If I could, I'd post a really long rant about it, but this episode's already running in kind of long.
Yeah.
I might do a write-up of it, and if I do, I'll post it in the description.
Okay.
But yeah, Dragon's Dogma, $30 on PC. Get it. It's good. And Capcom has come out and said, because it is Capcom, there is actually an MMO of it in Japan, and I really want to play it, but it's only a Japanese release. So they said something to the effect of, if Dragon's Dogma sells well on PC, then they're going to do more Dragon's Dogma content in the West. So, for my sake, everybody go out and buy Dragon's Dogma.
Go for it. Do it up, guys. Maybe I'll join you.
So that's episode 2 of KickSmarter. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Later.